Hi everyone, my name is Lydia and this is what I wish they taught me about econometrics and introduction. In the previous video, we saw that omitting a relevant variable can bias our estimate. Now we'll derive exactly how that bias arises. We'll start by thinking of the true model, which looks something along the lines of y equals to beta 0 plus beta 1x plus beta 2z plus an error term. And you can think of the x as your variable of interest, let's say education, or z being ability, while y is your income variable. The estimated but misspecified model, so what we would have said that is our biased model, is y being equal to alpha 0 plus alpha 1 x plus an error term epsilon. So we are omitting the z variable in here, and now we're going to look into what exactly is this alpha 1 estimating. Okay, so we're going to see how exactly does it get contaminated because of that relationship that exists between the x and the z variable. We can use directly the OLS formula. So from OLS, we know that alpha 1 should be the covariance between x and y divided by the variance of your x variable. Okay, so what that means, in order for us to be able to find this, we need to think about the covariance of x and y in here. From the true model, okay, we can compute the actual covariance between x and z. So think about it this way. The covariance of x and y can be equal to the covariance of x, and y, we can substitute it for exactly what we know it is. So the y, we can use from the true model, we can use, like, there's no need to include the beta 0, since it's just a constant and there is no relation between a variable and a constant, so we can include the rest, which is beta 1x plus beta 2z plus the error term u in here. Okay, again, covariance between beta 0 in here and x would have been 0 because that's how it is. So more generally, covariance between x and a constant c of any kind is 0. That would have been the rule that you are using. Let's use the linearity of the covariance operator and expand this expression. So what we'll be left with is the covariance of x with beta 1x plus the covariance of x with beta 2z plus the covariance of x with the error term u. And from here, we're going to use two very important properties in here. From the first part, using again the linearity of the covariance operator, we can send the beta 1 in front, which means I can write this as beta 1 times the covariance of x with x. And the rule that I am going to use in this case is that the covariance of x and x is actually simply the variance of x. Okay? And for the last one, the actual property that we are going to use in here is that the covariance between any x variable and your error term is 0 by OLS assumptions. Okay? So what that means is that after rearranging this entire expression, we are left with the covariance of x and y being equal to beta 1 variance of x plus beta 2 covariance between x and z. Okay? Now, keep in mind in here, the covariance of x and u being 0 by the assumption holds exactly because we are looking at the true model. If we were looking at the bias model, that is clear that the covariance for instance, covariance here between x and the error term, that we know for sure it's not zero because this error term in here includes ability, and we know that ability and x, or like z and x, are correlated with each other. Okay. Now that we have found an expression for the covariance, let's plug this back into the actual formula that we have for alpha 1. So we've got alpha 1 equals to beta 1 variance of x plus beta 2 covariance xz divided by the variance of x. If we further work this fraction, we'll find that this is beta 1 plus beta 2 covariance of x and z divided by the variance of x. So as you can see, what we get as alpha 1 is beta 1 plus something. And this something that you are seeing in here, this is exactly your bias. Okay, because this beta 1, this should have been your true effect. This is what you would have gotten out of looking at the true model in here. However, what happens in here is that, well, alpha 1 is actually not equal to beta 1. It's beta 1 plus something else. So surely what is coming after that, that is the bias. Okay, so this is the omitted variable bias formula. Okay, where we've got that this part is the actual bias. Okay, we can also rearrange this a little bit more. So you can say alpha 1 minus beta 1, that is equal to beta 2 covariance of xz divided by the variance of x. So whichever way you're seeing this expression in, it's still giving you the omitted variable bias formula, where you've got this left-hand side in here, giving you the actual difference between what we estimate and the truth, and the right-hand side in here is telling us not just the bias, but where exactly it's coming from. So also where the bias is coming from. Okay? Because notice very carefully, in your fraction in here, you've got covariance of x and z. So the bias is coming exactly because x and z are correlated with one another. Okay? Now, what this entire part of the fraction tells us is going to be looked at in the next video, but just to give you a heads up, this is going to come from what we will call an auxiliary regression coefficient. In the meantime, keep in mind the interpretation is that the bias, as you can see in here, is depending on two things. Okay? So bias depends on two things. It depends on the beta 2, and it depends on this covariance xz divided by the variance of x. Okay? Where the beta 2 is the true effect of the omitted variable, and this next term is telling us exactly how z is correlated, or how strongly z is correlated with x. Okay? Now, both must be non-zero for the bias to exist very clearly, because if any of these is zero, that means the entire bias will be zero. Okay? Now, if beta 2, let's say beta 2, is exactly equal to 0, it means that the covariance itself between z and y is equal to 0, which means z is not in the error term to begin with. It's no longer an omitted bias because it doesn't even affect the the y variable, okay? So omitting it would literally mean no bias. So as a recap, the OVB formula shows that bias equals beta 2 times this other component, which we'll see will come from the regression of z on x. So it depends on both how much the z affects the y and how correlated the z is with the x. In the next video, we'll use this formula to determine the direction of the bias, whether our estimate is too high or is too low. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.